out the NFC South, predicted records, standings, and then we will get into the superlatives to finish things out. Predicted MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Breakout Player, and Coach of the Division. Here we go.
Yeah, I think so. I always start at the bottom, work right at the top.
Yep.
The Panthers feel like a fourth place team to me. They're over under. We're gonna start throwing those in here because that's pretty important. A lot of people care about betting. Their over under's 5.5. I think they are just under that at 5-12. I know the schedule's pretty easy, but that's because they're in an easy division. But that doesn't mean they still don't have the fourth worst quarterback as of right now in the division.
Yep.
And they, as of right now, have the I'd argue Canales may be better than the New Orleans guy, but still, they still have a rookie head coach. The defense isn't anything special. The offensive line's still in work. So to me, I have a section on these for my notes. What are their question marks, right, going into the season? Everything?
There's too many.
Is Bryce Young any good? Can Dave Canales coach? Is the offensive line legit? Could they even run the football? It looks like they probably will be able to, but who knows? Are their weapons good enough? Is the defense worth anything without Brian Burns? Jeremy Chin is gone. Who's on this team that's going to make plays, right? That's my question.
I think the concerning answer is nobody. There's not a bright spot. We were going through it, and I think when we were doing the predicting, before we kind of sat down, added rationale to it, because the way we do it first is very bare bones, go through the schedule. We found 2 wins that we felt confident in.
For sure.
That we felt confident in.
And there's probably about 4 or 5 more that were kind of up in the air. So we had awarded them 3 of those 5.
So a 5-12 record, first of all, is being kind. That's giving them a little more than...
I think that's being kind, yeah.
So I just don't see what's in Carolina. I don't think there's any bright spots to look to. I mean, lose, tank, and get a good draft pick next year.
Possibility, for sure. Some key additions and subtractions: Deontay Johnson, Hayden Hurst, and Robert Hunt, and Jadeveon Clowney. For additions, they lost DJ Chark, Brian Burns, Dante Jackson, Jeremy Chin. So the defense losing Burns, Jackson, Chin, that's a problem, right? I think that defense is not going to be very good, and you have an offensive coach, so it's not like it's going to get that much better.
That is not a good mix.
No, I think in third place, though, New Orleans, they're over under 7.5. Again, I think they're slightly under at 7 and 10. Again, questions, a lot. I have a ton of questions. I have more questions than I do answers. And the primary two are their primary 2 positions. Head coach. I'm not a Dennis Allen guy whatsoever. I don't think he's very clever. I'm not sure he's figured out how to win as an NFL head coach. And I don't know if Derek Carr still has it. I know when he went to New Orleans, I did a whole rant hey, if he just keeps up his career average for the next 5 years, he's top 15 in every stat category. He's putting on a Hall of Fame level, resume without the accolades in terms of a statistical standpoint. But that has fallen off mightily. Injuries have been a concern. I don't know. And who are their skill position guys? Michael Thomas is gone. Obviously, you still have Chris Olave, who's pretty good. Rashid Shaheed.
But not anybody I would lean on.
No, I think as of right now, Olave is probably either a low-end 1, high-end 2. And then it's a bunch of 4s and 5s, maybe. A bunch of 4s and 5s.
I agree with that. And I don't like the Dennis Allen thing either. I think when he was kind of promoted from within, we didn't like it. Yeah, we didn't like it at first.
Oh, we said go out and get an offensive coach. What are we doing?
It just felt very lazy. It felt like the lazy decision to make.
I think that's fair. Some additions: they added Chase Young and Willie Gay, the linebacker from Kansas City, and they lost Andres Pete, the offensive lineman, Zach Bond, the linebacker, and Michael Thomas has yet to sign anywhere. So as of right now, he's a loss. Who knows? He may re-sign. Pretty doubtful. Number 2 here, Tampa Bay. Their over-under is also 7.5. I just know what I get at the 2 most important positions. I'm not saying Todd Bowles is great. I'm not saying Baker's great. But I feel like every given Sunday, I kind of know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles is going to be a little more conservative. He's going to send a lot of, in terms of the overall game plan, running the football, field position. Defensively, you're going to get a ton of blitz packages. He's going to be aggressive. Antoine Winfield, the safety on the back end, is going to be able to clean up a lot of messes that the front 7 starts.
I agree with that.
And Baker's going to give you a consistent, 2 to 250, pass rating anywhere between 85 and 95, about a touchdown and a half to 2 per pick. And that's kind of what you're going to get.
I was going to say, he's chippy, he's going to win you a game. And newsflash, Baker Mayfield, although he is kind of a meme and a little bit of a joke, he plays winning football.
He's a viable quarterback. And
yes.
I said this from the very beginning when I had a problem with Baker in Cleveland. It wasn't because I thought he was a bad quarterback. It's because people were putting him in the top 10. People were saying he's the franchise guy. I just didn't agree with that.
Yeah.
I thought he was somewhere around the 14th to 18th best quarterback. He's a franchise guy, low-end franchise guy, but he's a franchise guy.
Yeah, and he'll get it done. He'll win games, and he'll have a winning record.
I agree with that. They added Jordan Whitehead, Randy Gregory, and Graham Barton through the draft, and they lost Carlton Davis and Devin White, your guy, LSU guy. Yeah, you were always a fan of him. I don't know why. No, maybe I'm crazy.
He's solid.
Yeah, he is solid. I don't even know where he went, actually. Number one here, Atlanta. Their over-under is 9.5.
We haven't figured out one more win.
Yeah, 10-7 feels right. I think maybe 11-6. The schedule's pretty light because I think they split with Tampa and then they sweep both New Orleans and Carolina. They added, of course, Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore, Lost, Bud Dupree, Calais Campbell, and Jonnu Smith. My only question is Kirk 100%? Right, that's my primary question. Is Kirk back 100%? Because before he tore his Achilles, he was playing almost MVP level football. Like, he was really good last year until he tore his Achilles.
Yeah. Is that an injury you can bounce back from easily? Because I don't think it is.
Easily, no. But I don't know if any major injury like that is easy to bounce back from, especially at his age.
That's what I say.
I mean, the thing is, he never moved a ton anyway, but he's going to be even more stationary now.
Yeah.
So the offensive line's really good, though. So they're going to be able to protect him. Another thing I'm looking at, can Raheem Morris make that defense better, right? They addressed it in the draft. They addressed it in free agency a little bit. They have a good corner, a good safety. I like Grady Jarrett up front. So the defense has some pieces. Can Raheem Morris, a defensive guy, kind of turn that ship around? I think
it can.
Is it like a D'Amico Ryans? Of course, he doesn't have a young C.J. Stroud, but he has a veteran quarterback. Can it be an organization gets a breath of fresh air with a competent quarterback and a rock-star defensive head coach? I think that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah, and I think that defense is going to be the key, whether they get above that 9.5 win total there. And I think if the defense is on, or at least viable and playing top half of the league defense, they will.
I think it's we clearly have them in a playoff spot. I think 11 wins is very doable. Very doable.
All right, to run back through, we got the Falcons in first at 10-7. The Buccaneers trailing a game behind them at 9-8. The Saints in third at 7-10, and the Panthers very well in the basement at a cool 5-12, fighting it out to 5-12.
To me, this is kind of the division where I don't know. There's a lot of question marks, but I kind of know. I feel confident about each of these rankings, like more so than any other division. Again, there's a lot of question marks with these teams, but I don't think New Orleans is going to surprise anybody and win 11 games. I don't think the Panthers go winless, and I don't think they surprise anybody with 9 wins. You know what I mean? Like, I think you kind of have a general idea for all of these teams, despite their question marks individually.
Yeah, I agree. All right, superlatives. So let's start with MVP.
Back to the V part, value. Kirk Cousins has to be the most valuable player. Do I think Bijan Robinson is more talented? Yes. Do I think Chris Olave is a more talented player? Maybe quote-unquote better? Yeah. But I think in terms of value, that franchise has been a losing franchise. Kirk's going to come in. They're going to have a winning season, most likely make the playoffs. So, yeah, Kirk Cousins would be the most valuable player.
Okay. Offensive player of the year.
I think Bijan Robinson, because I think knowing... One, it's a defensive head coach, right? Raheem Morris, defensive head coaches tend to run the ball more. Mm-hmm. And what tree is he from? The Sean McVay tree. They like to run the football, right? So you would assume that Bijan's going to get a ton of carries, going to get work out of the backfield. I would go Bijan.
Okay, now defensive player of the year.
Not a ton of defensive talent in this division.
We were grasping.
We were grasping at straws. I still think Cam Jordan is a top 10 defensive lineman. He's got some injury concerns. He's aging a little bit, not quite as fast as he used to be, but there's not a lot to choose from. Maybe A.J. Terrell from the Falcons would be like an honorable mention. Maybe Jesse Bates from the Falcons, Grady Jarrett from the Falcons. There's not a ton of talent elsewhere, though. Tyrann Mathieu from his same team, Marshawn Lattimore, maybe the DB.
It dries up quick.
Where, like, I know I just named like 10 names, but none of them are really... like, oh, that's clearly, like, I don't think there's someone in this division where we're going to get a ton of comments like, how did you forget about TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, etc.
Yeah, so. Nobody big like that. All right, breakout player of the year.
Kyle Pitts. Yeah, I think he is probably one of the most talented players in football that I think has not gotten a fair shake. Like, I kind of put him as like a Terry McLaurin type, but Terry McLaurin has been more productive up to this point, so that kind of seems like it's a slight on Terry, but... my point being is that Kyle Pitts is really talented, and I think with a quarterback that can get him the ball consistently, he's going to be really good.
Yeah, I think
with Drake London, I think the whole receiving core in Atlanta is poised for this list.
Especially now that he's being utilized as a receiver rather than just a tight end.
Yeah. He's never been a good blocking tight end either, so I might as well just split him out wide.
Yeah. He's got the big frame, big catchability. I like it. All right, coach of the division.
I think Raheem Morris. Yeah, you're going to go into a losing franchise who won, 7 games last year. Obviously, a new quarterback's going to help, but I do think the defense is going to see, I don't want to say absurd improvement, but market improvement. So, yeah, Raheem Morris.
Okay. There you go. Run back through.
Kirk Cousins, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. Bijan Robinson, Defensive Player of the Year. Cam Jordan. Breakout, Kyle Pitts, Coach of the Year. Raheem Morris of the Falcons.
Perfect. Those are the NFC South superlatives, so go check it out. That's posted everywhere you can find the show, and along with Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you can find it all there as well. Go check out the link on theissuesports.com. But now